Good evening. I hope you are all well. Yes, I know I'm a little bit early, but I thought I'd jump on, make sure everything's working okay, just make sure the sound is working okay, which it is. So yes. Oh, we've got someone here already. Depeche Mode music. Enjoy the Silence. That's a good song from Depeche Mode. I like that one. What's one of their other big hits? Just Can't Get Enough. That's another good hit. I do quite like 80s music, actually. I imagine there's a lot of you that probably don't know that. Yeah, 80s music, very interesting sounds. The good old synthesizers. Yeah, yeah, good decade for music. Although not everyone will agree with me on that one. Adrian Vasquez, I think I've done a pretty good job there. I love Car Obsession. Thank you very much. I love it too. Pocket Rockets, yo dude, yo man, how you doing? So yes, this has become an annual tradition. Oh, Ruby, why have you run off? This has become an annual tradition where I do a live Q&A at Christmas time. And I love doing these because it's a real good chance for me to connect with you guys, and likewise. And I would like to do more live Q&As, but just I think just it's one of those things where if I do it too often, it kind of loses its novelty, I suppose. Let's see Ruby in the corner. Ruby! No one puts Ruby in the corner, apart from herself. You look very comfortable. I wish I was that comfortable. Message from Andy Conway. Hey, Aaron. Congratulations to you and Patsy. Thank you very much. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone who have sent their best wishes and congratulations. I have to be honest. I've been genuinely overwhelmed, and I feel very. It's such a cliche word. I feel blessed. Hashtag blessed. But I feel quite blessed and humbled. I think that's the word I was actually originally looking for. I feel very humble by the amount of love that you guys have poured into my feeds and into my comment section. So thank you so much. Let's face it, 2020 has not gone to plan, has it, for anyone really? I think the only big winners from this year are the people who make hand sanitizers. They must be loving it. They must be literally rubbing their hands with glee. Get it? Because it's hand sanitizer. Moving on. I'm a dad. I'm a dad now, so I can make dad jokes. Yes, that's. Oh my god, that's still a really weird thing to say. To say that I'm a dad. I'm a father. I'm responsible for a living soul. God help her. So yes, for those of you that don't know, if you haven't, you've probably been living under a rock. Patsy, my wife, gave birth to our beautiful baby daughter yesterday, named Amber, at 12:53 to be precise, and she weighed 6.95 pounds. So she has come earlier than expected, because originally Patsy was going to have a C-section on the 30th, but because there was a little bit of concern with blood flow, they brought it forward to yesterday, which is kind of thrown a spanner in the works. I was at work on Friday because I don't do YouTube as a full-time thing, sadly, and I was just finishing my lunch, and on my work phone, Patsy's number flashed up, which is really bizarre because she never rings me at work unless it's an emergency. And I saw her number. I thought, that looks familiar. I thought, it's Patsy's number. And then I picked up the phone, and she said, yeah, do you know that C-section I was meant to have on the 30th of December? Yeah. Well, it's now Monday. Oh, okay. So yeah, my Friday was very interesting because I basically had to tie up all the loose ends, because when I'm not there, there will be other people dealing with the cars that are in the garage at the moment, and therefore I needed to make sure that all of my notes on the jobs I'm dealing with are concise and accurate. So yes, still been a bit frantic, but I think that's just parenthood, really, isn't it? Things don't always go to plan, and things can be a little bit haphazard. Apologies if I keep looking at the floor. I've got Ray, my other cat, down at my feet, and she's kind of snuggling into my laptop bag, which is quite cute. Right, and a small flurry of messages coming in already. Thank you. So You'd have to forgive me with the pronunciations, but some of them are bound to be pretty poor. So Lolo Machano, um, very good video with Caterham. Thank you, man. Well, thank you for watching, and happy Christmas. Happy Christmas to you. Harry Styles. Wow, the Harry Styles. I am flattered. No, of course, it's not the real Harry Styles. Who knows, though? Could be. Congratulations on the birth of your daughter. And then a few emojis. Thank you very much. Now, I know this Q&A has been quite short notice. I only really announced it the weekend just gone. And I do fully concede that this may be a small turnout because it's quite short notice, quite close to Christmas. And as it stands, Arsenal are currently playing Man City. And I should really be watching that because I am an Arsenal fan. But let's face it, I don't think Arsenal stand a great deal of chance against Man City. So I'm going to avoid the somewhat inevitable loss, and I'd rather do something more worthwhile and productive, which is, of course, connecting with you guys. So yes, I do think tonight is going to be a small turnout, but I am pleasantly surprised, genuinely, by the flurry of activity I've had already. So thank you so much. Normally, when I do these, I wear Christmas attire, such as a Christmas onesie or a Christmas jumper. I'm not doing that this year because I can't find any of my Christmas jumpers, to be honest. Plus, this is a key time for me to do a shameless plug. Guys, don't forget, I now have merchandise. In fact, I'm wearing one of my t-shirts now. If I just get up a little bit, there we are. Pop-ups enabled. Quite apt, really, because I'm using a laptop as we speak. So yes, obviously, this is when it's meant to be Monique, my Mark 1 MX5 or Yunus Roadster, if I'm going to be pedantic and more specific and accurate. So if you want to bag this t-shirt or a few others, then please head over to controlledandshift.com. I'm not just saying this because I'm promoting these products, but these t-shirts are actually really nice quality. You get some merch t-shirts and they're kind of fruit of the loom, and the quality is quite average. But when I first opened the parcel and these were in here, I remember feeling the material and thinking that actually feels pretty high quality. It just feels very nice on the skin. But anyway, I can see that there is a question already from Pocket Rockets. What is your favourite / most anticipated car of 2020? Mine has to be the Yaris GR4. Yeah, I have to go along with you, Chris. When the news first dropped on that car, which felt like a long time ago, it may have been last year actually, I looked at that and I thought, wow, that is bound to be something truly epic. And I'll be honest, I can't really remember the last time I was so hyped about a car. Now, of course, I'm a massive fan of my hot hatches. So cars such as the FK8 Honda Civic Type R, that car always gets my interest. The same goes for the new Ford Focus ST, and of course the Ford Fiesta ST. But it's difficult to remember a time when I was so desperate to drive a car. And it's bad to think that it's a Toyota Yaris we are speaking about. Now, of course, it's not just a Yaris. This is a homologation special, the kind of car that, let's face it, we all kind of thought had died off. When was the last time there was an homologation special? It just doesn't happen nowadays, does it? So the Yaris, the GR Yaris is a truly wonderful car. By the way, guys, can you still hear me? The reason I'm asking is because it's been a while since I've had a comment. And I know when I did this last year, for whatever reason, the connection just dropped out. And I was talking to myself for 10 minutes before I realised. So, guys, if you can still hear me, then please drop me a comment. Because, yes, I need to make sure that I'm not just sat here talking to myself. Because that's one of the first signs of madness, isn't it? Yes, okay, brilliant. Sweet. And Joe Achilles is here. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for joining me. Always good to have you on board. When was the last time I saw you, Joe? A very long time ago. Oh my God, Joe, I just realised I don't think I've seen you this year at all. That's mad. We are near Christmas time and I'm almost certain we have not crossed paths this year, not at least in person anyway. Wow, just goes to show you how mad this year has been. But yes, back to the GR Yaris. I think that is definitely going to be a future classic, and I love the fact that Toyota has been quite. You'll have to excuse the rather vulgar phrase, but they've been quite balls out with it, and they've just gone for it. They've had something in place, and they've done something that I believe a lot of car manufacturers would have shied away from. Put it this way: Ford has Ford has said that it won't be making a fourth generation Focus RS, nor will they be making a Fiesta RS. So the way how I look at it is the GR Yaris is the Fiesta RS we never had, and that can only be a good thing. Now, I'll be honest, I was bitterly disappointed. Oh, so I just hit the laptop. I was bitterly disappointed that I wasn't able to get an invite to the launch, but such is life. If I'm going to be, sorry, my mouth's a bit dry. I need beer. Apologies for using Corona to use in this video. It's not really the most appropriate beer, but it is one of my favourite beers. So yeah, I saw a box of them in my local Tesco's today. I thought I'm having those. I wonder if the kind of stock prices, you know what I mean, the shares. I wonder if the shares in Corona beer have gone up or down in this pandemic, because on the one hand, there have been some really stupid people that think you get coronavirus by drinking Corona beer, which is obviously nonsense. But at the same time, they've had some extra beer. I've had too much beer already. It's only my second one. They've had a lot of publicity. That's what I was trying to say. They've had a lot of publicity from obviously what's going on. But yes, granted, I am digressing a lot, but that's why I love these Q&As, because they're just so sporadic. I'm almost like Grandpa in The Simpsons. I'll start on one thing and I'll just wander off to something else. I start a story that has no ending and no real substance or anything, or any kind of substance. But yes, the GR Yaris. I love the fact that it's a car that you would expect a lot of manufacturers not to make, and I would be surprised if Toyota make any money on them whatsoever. I'd be surprised if they even break even. I think when Ford made the first Focus RS, I think I read somewhere on the internet that per car, Ford was losing about $4,000 in each one. Pardon me, because the Mark 1 Focus RS, all the body panels and obviously other components of the car, they were bespoke to that car. Whereas if you look at the other Ford Focus RS that have come along, they've been, what's the best way of putting it? There haven't been one-offs, so to speak. Of course, they have different engines and so forth, but for the most part, the body panels are the same. Of course, things like bumpers are going to be different. But for example, if you wanted to replace something on a Mark II Focus RS, you may be able to get it from a standard Mark II Focus, whereas on a Mark 1 Focus RS, then it becomes quite an expensive business, because the Mark 1 was quite a bespoke vehicle. It was what do they call it? Is it a halo vehicle or hero vehicle? But yeah, I really can't wait to drive the GR Yaris. I don't know when that will be. Now, I go to an event each year. It's the SMMT Test Day. And SMMT stands for Society of Manufacturers and Motor Traders. And in essence, every May at Millbrook, the testing ground near kind of Bedford Way, a load of manufacturers bring a small selection of their cars, and you can have a quick spin in them. I liken it to wine tasting, but with cars. You kind of jump in, sample it a little bit, and then you can go into something else. And I think really and truly, as it stands, unless I get very, very friendly with an owner of a GR Yaris, I think that's going to be my best bet in getting in one. But I don't know whether the SMMT Test Day will take place next year, because it was cancelled this year, of course, because of Corona. Not the beer, obviously. Don't drink and drive. Right, anyway, let's just have a look at the comments. Yeah, Joe's put, no, not this year. Feels like I haven't seen anyone this year. Madness, yeah, madness indeed. Just reading Henry's comment. Thank you very, very much. If you could have one car for 2021, what would it be? Money, no object, but factor in Patsy and Amber. Oh, that is a good question. The thing is, the obvious thing would be to say something like an Audi RS6. But the thing is, A, that is a really obvious answer. And B, you say money, no object, but do you mean buying it or money, no object to run it? Because the thing is, I look at some of these people that win BOTB, Best of the Best, which is a kind of car, not a car raffle. It's a spot ball competition where people can win supercars. I look at some of the winners. I think it's all good and well, mate, but you live on a council estate in Wirral. How are you going to afford that with your massive, I don't know, Audi RSQ8? You think it's a nice car, son, but you can't afford to run it. Yeah. Has he given me a follow-up to my question? Good points. Okay, let's say the manufacturer pays for everything expenses-wise for the year. That's really difficult. The thing is, I really love my hot hatches, but if a manufacturer is going to give me a car for a year, then I'd want to have slightly more lofty ambitions. The thing is, I keep coming back to Audi RS6. I don't want to say that because it's not a bad car. Well, I've not driven it, but I've driven the S6 and the RS4, and they're both very good cars. But I don't want to say RS6 because that's a cliche answer. I'd rather be a bit more original. See, I had the RSQ3 a few months ago, and I really liked that. But is that a bit of a cliche answer as well? And it's an SUV. Given the choice, I think I'd rather have a performance estate as opposed to a performance SUV. Although the RSQ3 does look really mean. It's a really good-looking car, actually. Joe, I'm going to have to duck that question, think about it, and come back to you because I really don't know. I really don't. It's a really tricky one. Yeah, I'd want to think outside the box on that one. That's the thing. But it needs to be able to transport Patsy and Amber. So I can't say something like, I don't know, a Caterham. There we are. I'd love to have a Caterham for a year, but obviously it's not particularly child-friendly transport. Bearing in mind it's got no traction control, no ABS, no power steering, and more importantly, no airbags or kind of crumple zones. Actually, no, it has got crumple zones. Your knees. Right. Carl Green, evening, mate. Congratulations to you and Patsy. Yes, thank you very, very much. He's will put iPace. I don't know. I'm still not on board with electric cars. I am a prehistoric petrol head dinosaur. Now, I do try to have as open mind as possible, but at the same time, I still believe that even in 2020, well, going into 2021, I still don't think we, particularly in the UK, are at a point where we can fully depend on an electric car. Now, I know it depends on your circumstances. If you live in a city and you have a property where you can charge your car at home, perfect. Then an electric car is the car for you, or at least an option. For someone like me, it isn't, because I live in a flat and I've got nowhere. Realistically, I've got nowhere to charge the car here. I've got nowhere to charge it at work. And to be honest, I can walk to work. I only really drive when it's bad weather like it is now, or if I'm feeling lazy, or if I'm running late. So I don't think I'd want to. I think I'd only want to own an electric car if I was forced into it. I know that makes me sound terribly narrow-minded, but I just love ice cars too much. You know, just the yes, I've driven a Tesla Model X a very long time ago, and the performance was very impressive, but also disconcerting because you have that performance, and all you really get is a slight murmur, a slight whirring from the motors. It's very surreal. You think it needs some noise to go with it. I wonder if, well, I think some manufacturers do it already, where they kind of put a sound imposer on the car to kind of pump engine noises in. I think Renault do that, if I'm not mistaken. Right, let's check the comment section. Right, okie dokie. Actually, before I do that, just to go back onto the electric car thing. I know this is something I've spoken about in a good amount of detail in my Q&As before, but not only do I think that the range on electric cars needs to get better, although I fully appreciate it is getting better as time goes by, but I just think the infrastructure in the UK isn't good enough. Now, there will be some EV owners that go, oh, I don't know what you mean. Did you know there were charging points and petrol stations? And I've had a few EV owners say that to me, and you know what? That comment just that's almost like a trigger for me. The reason being is I have no doubt that that stat is true, but at the same time, out of all of those charging stations, how many of those are fast chargers, and how many of those are either privately owned or on private land where you can't get to them? Also, the great thing about petrol, diesel, or indeed a hybrid is that if you've only got 10 miles of range left, i.e. 10 miles of fuel, there's a good chance you're going to be near a petrol station. You pull into said petrol station, you can fill up in about 5 or 10 minutes. Nice and easy. Whereas with an electric car, you're looking about half an hour at least. And I'm sorry, if that's your idea of progress, then we're going backwards. But I do have quite strong views on electric cars, some of which some EV owners would probably say are flawed or incorrect, but those are my opinions. I don't claim to be an expert in electric cars because I'm not. I'm far from an expert on electric cars. But as always, I don't know why. I always get my soapbox on my Q&As for electric cars. Some people must think I hate electric cars. I don't hate them. I just think we're not properly ready for electric cars yet. And one final point before I get too political. I don't want to do that again. Last time I got political, I lost subscribers. But I think one of the biggest problems, I think the SMMT, who I referred to earlier, that they each month they put out stats of how many cars have been sold and that kind of thing. I think at one point the rate of which people were buying electric cars had skyrocketed, and that's brilliant in some respects. But when you've got an infrastructure that is failing to keep up with it, then there's a problem. That there's an issue with supply and demand. You've got all these electric cars filling the roads of Britain, but not enough places to charge them. Anyway, that is my my somewhat extended rant on electric cars finished. You'll be pleased to know I'm moving on. Right, Cambrian Coast, 2 years old, second hand. Which would you choose? Alfa Romeo Giulia Veloce or Kia Stinger 2-litre petrol? Oh, that is a good question. The thing is, I've driven a Kia Stinger, albeit it was the V6 one, and I was actually a little bit underwhelmed. The reason being is I don't know if it's because I drove it towards the end of the day, and quite a lot of people have driven it before me and probably driven it hard, but the brakes were quite spongy. They didn't have a lot of bite in them. They were as bitey as a gumless old man. And when you've got that amount of performance, you kind of want some brakes that are going to slow you down. And whilst they weren't dangerous per se, they felt faded. I think that's the best and fairest way of putting it. I keep doing that. Maybe I do want to be a politician. Enjoy Christmas. Don't enjoy Christmas. Go out. Don't go out. See your family, but don't see family. Good old Bojo. He hasn't got an idea what he's doing, has he? Poor little thing. He's like a rabbit in the headlights. The thing is about the Kia Stinger, is that it comes with a 7-year warranty. I know it sounds like a terribly boring and practical thing to say, but let's put it this way: Alfa Romeo, they're famed for their reliability, aren't they? No, wait, no, they're not. So I'm pretty sure Alfas have got better, but at the same time, when you've got a car that's got a 7-year warranty and a car that's got an Alfa badge on it, yes, the car with that Alfa badge has got, well, it's got more badge appeal, of course. Now, I have driven an Alfa Romeo Giulia, and was it the Veloce I had? I think it was. I can't remember. It's quite a long time ago. And I really enjoyed my time with the Giulia. The one I had was finished in white with red leather. And I'm not normally a fan of red leather, but in this car, it was the icing on the cake. It just looked really, really stylish, very suave. Suave, good word. I'm not really answering your question, am I? So I've not driven the 2-litre Stinger. I would have thought it may feel a tad underpowered. The Stinger isn't a particularly light car from memory. As much as I'd say the Stinger probably makes more sense, it'll probably be more reliable. It's got a better warranty. I'd probably go with the Giulia. It's an achingly pretty car. I actually saw a Giulia today, a black Quadrifoglio, and there's one that parks in my area actually, and it's a terribly stunning car, isn't it? The Italians, they really know how to do style, don't they? It's a gorgeous looking thing, and just the Stinger's not ugly, but for the sake of something to stare at whilst the AA are coming, the Giulia, yeah, I don't think you can get much better than that. Yeah, I slipped in a little unreliable joke in there. Right, back to the comments. Right, hi guys, I'm a Brit in the USA. Are you Sting? Are you an Englishman in New York? A lot of people won't know what I'm on about, but it's a song by Sting, quite a good song actually. And I'd agree that the electric car not quite practical yet. Yeah, it's not. When we get to a point where a battery, no, I'm not going to. No, I've gone off electric cars. Sorry, I'm not going to go back into that topic because I'm going to spend another half an hour on it. Also, it may that whilst Tesla, are you writing in Pig Latin? Oh, I see. Right, I get what you're trying to get at. Tesla's fast, but it's not going to win any beauty contests. I wouldn't say Teslas are ugly, but at the same time, I don't look at a Tesla and go, "Oh, that's a good-looking car." Exactly. And how many cars per hour can each charging station process compared to a gas station? Yeah, I'll give you a good example. When I had the Kia Soul EV, quite annoyingly, I went to one charging point and it wasn't working. That was annoying. I then went to another one and it was in use. So it's all good and well. No, sorry, I keep going back to electric cars. I'm really trying not to because I could just bang on about electric cars until the cows come home. I can't imagine ambulance crews, delivery drivers, or busy salesmen having to kick their heels whilst charging. That's quite a funny analogy, actually. I can just imagine the emergency services. Imagine the fire brigade. Oh, quick! There's a building on fire. I need your help. Or I've got a cat stuck up a tree. Oh, I'm really sorry, but we've got an hour left of charge. Sorry. Yeah, it's not quite going to work, is it? Joe Achilles, this is gold, mate. Keep drinking. I've only had one. But I must admit, I love watching your live Q&As, although I don't watch them as often as I should. But kind of watching you slowly get more Christmassy. That's the best way of putting it. I'm not going to say, oh, sorry, it's Christmas. Pissed. I try not to swear on my Q&As, but that's a bit of light swearing. Oh, that's it. I've been demonetized. Haven't really, but I probably will be. But yeah, speaking of which. I want to get absolutely Christmased. Has anyone used that phrase before? I'll tell you what, last year I got so Christmas, I was paralytic. I think it sounds quite apt, really. Have you had any Karens harassing you whilst you were filming for any of your videos? No. I think I'm quite lucky in the sense that when I do film, obviously it is in public places, I try to be as considerate as I can because I am sharing a space. It's not just exclusively for me. I haven't paid to use that space, so I try to respect other people around me. Doesn't go for every YouTuber, of course, but I try my best. I can't think of it. No. One thing I will say that happens now and then, not very often, where if I'm driving down a nice country road, it actually happened when I was with filming the Ignis. Yes, going down a country lane at 55 miles per hour, and an oncoming car was doing that kind of. Well, I think it was trying to motion me to slow down. I'm thinking, mate, I'm doing 55 in a 60. Calm down. But yeah, that has happened a few times where I've been driving down a country lane and I haven't been particularly driving fast, and people like motion let me slow down. I think, F off. Who do you think you are? You're not the police. And 9 times out of 10, when I've done that, I've actually been doing the speed limit. You think, where do you get off? Other things that have happened to me recently whilst filming. So when I was filming the Honda Jazz, this will actually go into my bloopers video, which at some point I need to edit. But I was walking towards camera, clearly doing a piece to camera, looking down the barrel, speaking away, and this quite lovely old lady stopped and went, "Oh, what are you filming?" She sounded just like that. It's uncanny. She went, "Oh, what are you filming?" And I tried not to be a complete arse about the situation, but I was really annoyed because I thought, love, you can clearly see I'm doing a piece of camera. Yeah? Back down, go away. And I said to her, "Oh, I'm really sorry, you just interrupted me." And I didn't mean to sound rude. I'd like to think that I came across as firm but fair. But she went, "Oh, sorry, what are you doing?" Apart from talking to you whilst you've interrupted me, I make videos for YouTube. And given her age, she must have been 70s. I just saw this glazed look over her face, as if she goes. I could just hear her thinking, "What's YouTube?" So in the end, I just had to say, "I make videos for the internet." "Oh, okay." And then she trotted off. When I was filming the Ignis last weekend, there's a place near me, a dead end road, so it's quite handy. So I can park at the end, position the car how I want it to take photos and to take nice glamorous B-roll. And on 2 occasions, I had people stop and ask me if I'd broken down. I thought it was quite weird. It's like, well, it's a brand new car. It's unlikely to be broken down. And when I'm there with the camera taking photos of it, I don't quite know what was going through their heads, but yeah. Thankfully, I don't get harassed much, which is nice because often when I film, it's on limited time, so I don't really have time to stop and speak to people. Right, okie dokie. How are the cats? The cats are just fine. Ruby is up there, sleeping. She is. Get your hand-eye coordination. There we go. She's there, and Ray's under the table, curled up in a very cute, snuggly looking ball. Jamie Fisher, what are your thoughts on hydrogen cars like the upcoming Toyota Mirai? That's how you pronounce it, isn't it? Personally, I think hydrogen is the future. And it made me laugh when I kind of hinted at this when I was having a debate with an EV owner. Oh God, he's back on EVs again, watch out. Who had commented on my Hyundai Kona electric video, and his response was basically, "Oh well, hydrogen it's highly unstable, it's highly flammable." And I actually brought this up with Kevin Nix, the bloke who, well, he's made many wonderful creations, but his most famous is the world's fastest shed. And I said this to him, and he said, "Right, and petrol isn't flammable." I thought, damn, where were you when I needed to respond to that keyboard warrior? I thought, yes, of course. Now, I'm not an expert on hydrogen, but from what I do know or think I know, hydrogen is a bit more unsafe than petrol. But I still think that's the best way to go. Now I know obtaining it isn't the easiest thing to do, but the great thing about hydrogen is it's abundant. There we are. And the other great thing about hydrogen is because it's like petrol or diesel, you can pull into a station. Well, when there's more stations, of course, and fill up in the matter of a few minutes as opposed to a few hours. Yeah, I think hydrogen cars are the future. I think it may take a bit of time to get them more more kind of highlighted, more set up on a mainstream scale. But I would, if I had lots of money to invest in a new way of powering cars, I would be going down the route of hydrogen and not electric. Let's see. Shaniqua, be right back. I love playing with myself under my bed sheets to your streams. Well, as long as I can bring you a bit of joy, then we're all winners, aren't we? I don't know what else to say about that. At Pocket Rockets, I play with myself under the sheets too. Well, I don't even know what to say to that either. Carl Green said, I'm not allowed. Bless you. Right. What do the cats think about the new arrival? Well, I don't know. Is the simple answer. Because the baby's not here yet, which is why I'm doing this Q&A today. And, well, that's why I'm doing it today, because Patsy may be coming home tomorrow. If not, it will probably be Thursday. So that's Christmas Eve, isn't it? So I don't know. In hindsight, I think Patsy and I could have prepared better for, well, preparing the cats for the baby, because obviously for them, they're going to view it as this weird, smelly alien that cries a lot. But enough about Patsy. Just kidding, darling. Love you lots. But yeah, so I don't know. And that is genuinely a big worry of mine at the moment. I think out of all the things I'm worried about at the moment, that's at the top of my list. Because obviously, if the cats don't get on with the baby, then the cats have to go. And I love the cats. They're fantastic. They're very well behaved, mostly. They're adorable. They're very loving. And it would be such a shame to see them go. So fingers crossed they get on okay. Everything cars and more. Hello there. Have a very nice Christmas. Love your videos. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you for watching. Oh wow, I'm quite honoured by the amount of activity. I thought all you lot would be watching Arsenal lose to Man City, but I'm glad you're here. Very nice indeed. Right, I'm going to just take a few moments just to quench my thirst. Lovely. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll certainly give it a look. I'll be honest. But even before Amber was here, I didn't really have a lot of time to watch other YouTubers. So I'm more than happy to subscribe. But I will be honest. I may struggle to find time to watch your content, but I do try to watch other YouTubers. I try to give them support because they support me. It's only fair. It's only fair. Pocket Rockets. Third, final question. Why is it your final question? It's a bit final. Seeing as you didn't answer the second, what was your second question? Oh yeah. Huh. All right, sassy. The sassiness is strongest. It's strong in this one. All right, Chris. I'll go back to your second question. You little diva. You're just mad because you haven't touched yourself yet. That's going to sound really weird and out of context if you just joined me. Hello, welcome to my live Q&A. Merry Christmas. Gutted we couldn't go ahead with our video ideas. Yes, so am I, mate. We had some interesting stuff planned, but hey, 2020. Only stuff we can do now in 2021. What stuff would the audience like to see, i.e. twin tests, challenges, etc.? Well, I don't know. Really good. I'd argue that's a question for the audience. That's a question for the floor. I've just seen Joe Achilles' comment. Gordon Murray T50 has 3 seats. There we are. Perfect family car. Unless Patsy gets pregnant again, then in which case we'll have to strap someone to the roof. Bugsy, not me. Can't be me. I'm the only driver in the family. Right, I'm just going to jump question a bit to Carl Green. Any more car chatters lined up? No, to be honest with you, both Chris and I have been very busy, and it's been put on the back burner. It really has, but we really need to get it back up and running. But the problem we have is trying to pin down guests to come on, because I'm not going to name any names, so it's not unfair. I don't want to badmouth anyone, but there have been some people that have been really up for it, or they've shown interest, but when it comes to crunch time, they're like, nah. Or they find a way of getting out of it, which is annoying, because I don't like people who kind of they lead you on. It's not fair, because it means you get your hopes up, you start planning things, and then those plans don't come to any kind of fruition. When someone approaches me, I always try to be as transparent as possible. I don't like to muck people about. That's not what I'm about. So I'd rather be honest with people. And if there is anyone out there that feels like they've been done over by me, then I apologise. It wasn't my intention. I always try to help people out where I can, because if I don't want to do something, I'd rather just say I don't want to do it, or give them a reason, as opposed to go, oh yeah, I'll be up for that, and just never getting around to it. Pocket Rockets, Chris, I'll answer your. Sorry, that's my phone going off. What was your best video to film this year? Oh, there's a good one. I enjoyed doing the i30M, which, fingers crossed, that video will go live tomorrow. That I really enjoyed that one. I'll be honest with you, I've kind of lost track of what I filmed this year, because it's been such a kind of fragmented year. It's difficult to. Normally, when I do these live Q&As, I can look back and go, oh yeah, I remember doing that, or this one. But because this year's been so up in the air, and because obviously Patsy's been pregnant and we've been expecting Amber, it's been a funny old year. So I'm really struggling to remember the cars that I've done this year. Back in a minute. I'm going to cheat and look at my previous videos from this year. Car Obsession live Q&A. Who wants to watch that numpty? Right, let's have a look. So I need some like elevator music or some lounge music, just to give a bit of atmosphere whilst I look. I enjoyed doing the revealing the Leon. I enjoyed that. That was good. I haven't frozen. If you're thinking, is he still there? Is he signal gone? I'm just looking at my screen. The Caterham, of course. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's cars that I've forgotten about. The Caterham wasn't even that long ago. RSQ3. I think it's kind of between the i30 and the RSQ3. Of course, I had the car chatters with Chris and Rory Reid. That was incredible. Still can't believe that happened. I'm going to say it's between the RSQ3 and the i30 Fastback M. Both very good cars. Both thoroughly enjoyable to film and to edit. So yes, that's what I'm going to go with. Jamie Fisher, you speak very eloquently in your videos. Have you ever done an impression of a roadman? No, I don't think I have, in all honesty. I actually do originate from South London, believe it or not. I think there may be some people that won't quite believe that. When I was in school, in college, people always said to me that I spoke quite posh, and because I've got a hyphenated surname or a double-barreled surname, which is what I used to be more commonly known when I was growing up. Because I had a double-barreled surname, people assumed that I was posh. And then when I opened my mouth, that kind of confirmed what I thought. But far from the case. I grew up in, well, not quite council housing, but not far off it. So, yeah. I've never done an impression of the roadman, or if I have, I can't remember doing it. But Yeah, the thing is, if I were to do that, I think it would just come across as really awkward. So, yeah, I won't go down that road. But thank you. That's a very kind comment. I do try my best to speak as well as I can. I know sometimes I mumble, and I try to avoid that. But yeah, I know sometimes I'm not always the most coherent. Yes, thank you. I know it sounds mad to say, but it's quite a kind comment. Thank you. Um, Pocket Rockets would love to do an EV special. Yes, that would be so good. Who runs out of range first? That would be quite epic. Well, quite epic, but also quite frustrating if you kind of end up in the middle of like the Scottish Highlands and the nearest charging point is 50 miles away. That's not quite as much fun. But yeah, an EV special, I think that is a good idea. So it would be good if secondhand electric cars were cheaper. So we can do a secondhand electric car challenge, but electric cars just simply aren't cheap. Oh wait, hang on, he's on electric cars again. Go and put the kettle on. This might take a while. Pocket Rockets and Car Obsession EV collab feature length with challenges. Yeah, that would be fantastic. I'd love to do a feature length episode. I'd love to do it with Chris as well. I think it would be fantastic. And we have been planning things like this, but COVID has made things a bit difficult. And of course, we now, both Chris and I, we now have other priorities in life as well. He's just moved in to his own property. Well done, Chris. He spent a fair amount of money doing it up. So my hat goes off to you. I couldn't do what you could do. When Patsy and I moved into this place that was ready to move into, I don't think I could do what you could do. I wouldn't have the patience, to be honest. So yeah, my hat goes off to you. And of course, my priority is having a baby. And I'm sure Chris is probably thinking the same thing about how he probably wouldn't have the patience and how he takes his hat off to me. So it kind of works both ways, doesn't it? As per a previous chat post, how about a test between an Alfa Veloce and a Kia Stinger, as both have been around for a while, and you could discuss reliability? Yeah, not a bad idea. I think trying to get hands on those cars would be quite tricky, though. Depeche Mode Music, what do you think about the latest MG lineup? I'll be honest, I haven't got anything. I've got no comment. The reason being is I've not really paid that much attention to MG as of late. I contacted them numerous times to get the HS, and I never heard back from them, which is weird because normally MG are quite responsive. So I'm sure there's a reason for that. I'm not going to badmouth MG because MG as a brand, they've been quite good to me. And if it wasn't for them, the channel might not have got to where it got to now. Because back in the early days of Car Obsession, where many of you may not have been around, it was really MG. Well, MG, Suzuki, and Fiat. Those three brands were the kind of first brands to get on board with Car Obsession and to support me. My first ever car was a Fiat 500. I'll never forget it. It was black, and it had what at the time Fiat called second skin, which was a customization pack as such, and it was vinyls and stickers, decals, whatever you want to call them. I don't know if Fiat still offers that package because I don't think it was a particularly popular one, but it was a black car and it had black camouflage decals, a very unusual spec. To top it off, it had lime green wing mirrors. Yeah, it was one of those cars that you think whoever spec'd this must have been quite drunk at the time, or they must have been they were clearly on something that was causing them to have a misjudgment of thoughts. I think that's the best way of putting it. But yeah, it was quirky, and it was the kind of car you wouldn't lose in a car park because it was very distinct. But MG, I haven't done any of their cars for a while. I think the last one was the MG ZS EV, and that was probably about this time last year. So yeah, quite a long time ago. MG, I know they're not the brand that they used to be. Obviously, they don't fall on their heritage like they used to with cars such as the MGB and the MGA, going back a bit further, and more recent cars like the MGF, that kind of thing. MG as a brand has changed. Some may see it as for worse, some may see it for better. And yes, whilst their cars are quite cheap and just a tad nasty, you can't complain because they offer such good value and they are so cheap. So there's definitely a place in the market for MG, even though they don't offer the same kind of sports cars that they used to. Joe Taka, whenever things calm down, can't wait to see you drive those BBR tuned MX-5s. Yeah, I was gutted that got cancelled. I was really gutted. I think that was around the same time that the pardon me. I think that was around the same time that the launch for the GR Yaris had happened that I hadn't been invited to. So first that, then the BBR MX-5 drive being cancelled. It was kind of a kick in the teeth, really. The reason why it was cancelled was because I had to do some work on the suspension. But yeah, I had a plan on how I was going to film it. I did a storyboard and everything, and I cannot tell you how excited I was. But in hindsight, probably for the best, because at the time it was autumn, the weather was changing. Yes, it would have looked quite beautiful in pictures, seeing the leaves and their kind of orangey brownies and purples would have been quite nice. But at the same time, it wouldn't have made great weather for top-down driving. Now, I am one of those sad convertible owners that will pretty much drive their soft top with a top down no matter what. Granted, I have got a hard top on mine, and sometimes it's not simply not worth the faff taking the hard top off. But I remember when I got my first MX-5. This was when I was still living in South London, and shortly after I got it, which was December, by the way, weird time to buy an MX-5, I drove it top down everywhere. And I remember driving down Sutton High Street past the St Nicholas Centre, if anyone knows where that is. Big up Sutton. And I stopped at the traffic lights, and there's a guy next to me, and he just gave me a weird smile, and he said, "You must be freezing." I said, "No, I'm just right." So I had a coat on, I had a gloves on it and everything, but yeah. Going back to the BBR though, because of course I digressed, which I always do. I think that will be spring next year, particularly because of weather and see what COVID's doing. Yeah, love to get into one of their cars. Everything cars and more. In the future, I would like to set up my own car company, and I'm deciding between hydrogen and electric. That's quite a lofty ambition. So good luck to you. I imagine setting any kind of company up nowadays is going to be quite difficult. So if you do it and you achieve it, then well done you. Depeche Mode music, I wouldn't call 32 grand cheap and cheerful for the HS hybrid. Well, that's what I mean. I'm out of touch when it comes to MG's products. I know the MG ZS EV, that's about 24 grand, give or take. And I think for an electric car, that is almost unbelievable value, because electric cars, they're still quite expensive to buy, let's face it. Cambrian Coast. Have you driven a modern Morgan three-wheeler? If not, would you like to? That sounds like an invitation. No, I haven't. I'd love to drive a Morgan. Again, Morgan is a company that I've contacted numerous times and never had anything back. I even contacted a dealership because for someone like me, I approach the manufacturer's press offices direct. From my personal experience, whenever I've contacted a dealership, they just fob me off. Now, I know YouTubers such as Petrol Ped and Joe Achilles, and there's probably a few others I can think of. I know they've done well from getting cars from dealerships, so it's not impossible. But in my own experience, I've never had anything. I was going to say positive. That makes me sound like I'm slagging them off. I've not had anything worthwhile come by approaching a dealership. I think that's a fair way of putting it. But no, have you got a Morgan three-wheeler? I do hope you have, because you've now got my hopes up. I would love to drive a Morgan three-wheeler. Just imagine how characterful and charming that drive would be. So if you have one, yes, I don't care where you live. I don't care if you're in the if you're in the depths of Scotland. I would like to drive your Morgan three-wheeler. There we are. You heard it here first. Try speaking to Crazy Horse. They might help you out with a Morgan. Thank you, Carl. I will bear that in mind. Smile Per Mile. That's a good name. I like that. Have you seen the MX-5 documentary videos by a YouTuber called Savage Geese? He did a cinematic series of videos interviewing the Mazda engineers discussing each generation of the MX-5s. No, I haven't, but you've suddenly piqued my interest massively. So I'll have to watch that as a bit of a video viewing over Christmas. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that suggestion. I have to bear that in mind. But no, I haven't seen it. I must admit, I've not heard of a YouTuber. It's not to say that they're not big or anything. It's not one that I recognise. But yeah, I bet it'd be quite interesting actually. A long time ago, me and a chap by the name of Kevin Haggerty, who you may know because he used to do bits on TV. He was on a show on, I think it was ITV, called Pulling Power. Very nice guy, very knowledgeable, and the kind of guy that I think I could learn a lot from in regard to more the motoring journalism side of things, which I'd like to go into. As much as I love doing YouTube, if I had to kind of pick a career to do for the rest of my life, I think I would want to be a motoring journalist. Now, sadly, a lot of places require qualifications for that, and that's why that's one of the reasons why I set up my YouTube channel, because it was an avenue, an outlet in which I could display my passion for motoring. And as much as I would love to make Car Obsession a full-time thing, of course I would. At best, I'd say it's more of a portfolio to show people what I can do, particularly by myself, by the way. Yes, I do get help from people such as Chris Pocket Rockets and Chris Dreams to Drive now and then, but not all of the time. And Pat's used to help me, but now she can't because of health conditions, and now because of Amber, of course. But I would love to be a presenter. That's what I'd like to do. And I've applied for a few things. I remember quite a long time ago, I actually got headhunted by a company called Carsnip, and they wanted me to be on board, to be their presenter. And this was all very exciting, but sadly it fell through. The company changed their tact. They changed the kind of pathway they wanted to go down, and therefore my hopes of becoming a host for them were dashed almost as quickly as they were brought to my attention. I then applied for being the host for Collecting Cars for their YouTube channel, but again, I wasn't successful. But I'll keep plugging away. I'd love to offer my services to someone that is as passionate about cars as I am, and I'm sure that will happen one day. But at the end of the day, as long as I'm having fun and I'm enjoying doing Car Obsession, that's the main thing. I've said it once, I've said it many times before. I never started Car Obsession to make money. I think if any YouTuber, I don't care what area or niche you want to go into, whether it's gaming, beauty, food, fitness, if you are starting a YouTube channel with money as your sole and primary directive, then you are going to fail. Creating a channel should be about your passion, and that could be something as wacky as Monday's collecting stamps, or I don't know, train spotting, but it needs to be your passion, whatever that may be. Obviously, it needs to be something legal. Yeah, if it's I've got all kind of thoughts running through my head. Let's not go there. Right. Depeche Mode Music has responded. Would be nice to see MG loaning you an HS to see if it impresses you. I've test driven one, and it really feels like a game changer for MG. Interesting. Yeah, I have heard good things about the HS. I do hope to get my hands on one, but in order to do so, I need MG to respond to me. Joe Taka, again, I'm really sorry if my pronunciation is incorrect. Yes, highly recommend Savage Geeze's videos. Great production quality. They're based in Chicago. Ooh, okay. And go into technical detail for each car they drive, whilst having dry humour and no BS attitude. I like that. Dry humour, it's quite a British thing, isn't it? I don't think the Americans really do dry humour as much, do they? But I like a bit of dry humour. SV Lagonda, hello, fella. Love how down to earth you are and how you review cars for normal people. Also, happy Christmas and best wishes to your family and the YouTube channel. Thank you very much, SV Lagonda. Yeah, I think going back to what I was saying a few moments ago about me not being a motoring journalist or being qualified in that field, I think that kind of goes in my favour because I am just a normal bloke who loves his cars, and I always try to be as down to earth as possible. I do hope that when the channel does grow, I hope I remain humble. I don't want to get too big for my boots, and you see some people, they've got their on-screen persona, and then you see them in real life, and you go, actually, that guy's a bit of a expletive. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be as approachable at 100,000 subs than I was at as I was at 1,000 subs. So I always try to keep things down to earth where possible, because I think that just makes me more relatable and more likable, hopefully. Cambrian Coast. Sadly, no Morgan three-wheeler here. What? You got my hopes up. I really thought you had a Morgan three-wheeler. When you say, have you driven one? Would you like to? That gives me the impression you own one. You have one in your garage. You are a dirty little tease, Cambrian Coast. I thought you had a Morgan three-wheeler. Damn you. Damn you. But Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. You've got a... Oh, you've redeemed yourself. You've got an Octavia or Octavia VRS. I like those. I did contemplate an Octavia VRS to replace the Civic, but it's going to sound really mean. I do find that the VRS is just a bit boring. I know they are essentially a Golf GTI, just wearing different clothes, but I think I prefer the newer VRSs, the ones that look a bit more mean. They just look a bit more, I was going to say bling, that's not the right word. But they've got a bit more bravado about them, a bit more show. Whereas the early Octavias, they just look a little bit tame. Although I do quite like their boxiness, and that's why I love the Mark 1 Seat Leon Cupra R. It's quite a boxy, square car, but it just looks mean. It's just got a kind of hunkered down stance. But yes, the Octavia VRS is not a bad car by any means. Very, very dependable. You've had it, 2004 still going strong, so you must be doing something right. Jacko 999. I love your Caterham 7 Series. Thank you. I love them as well. I love Caterhams. I can't wait to get behind the wheel of another one whenever that may be. Looks like the lighting's got a bit dark. I can't really turn the lights up anymore. Now, hopefully you can still hear me. No. I was going to get I've got like a little LCD lamp, but the batteries on it are probably running quite low. So I thought, well, I don't want to put it on, and you can see me. Like it slowly get darker as we go on. And we all know my Q&As go on for quite some time. So I thought, actually, probably not a good idea. But yeah, granted, the lighting isn't that great. Could have sworn it was better earlier. Anyway, as long as you can hear me, you don't really need to see my face anyway, do you? Right, where are we? Crispy bacon. I prefer my bacon a bit more soft, a bit more succulent. I find crispy bacon loses its flavour a little bit. Season's greetings, Carb Session guy. Hope you keep up the great work in 2021. So do I. Thank you so much. Jamie Fisher. Are there any fun B-roads that you recommend driving? Yes, but I'm almost inclined not to tell you them, because if I tell you them, you're going to go to them. You're going to clog up my fun driving road. But joking aside, the roads around a Goodwood Motor Circuit are good. We've got the B2141. That's a good road, and there's another road I can't think of the name. Is it Selhurst Park Road? I think so. But you got some good roads around Goodwood. I'm quite lucky that I live. I was going to say a stone's throw away. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but I don't live too far from Goodwood, so that's why I choose that place to film my videos. I used to use Dorking when I lived in South London. Sorry, South London. And I'm glad I don't, because ever since the 2012 Olympics, now in Dorking you've got a place called Box Hill. Very pretty, very picturesque, very National Trust. And there was a cycle race as part of the 2012 Olympics, and that was part of the route. And ever since then, you can't move in Dorking through cyclists. I filmed there back in October, whenever it was, when I filmed the video with that Mark IV MX-5 and Steve, the owner, who was selling it. It was quite a nice day, probably one of the last nice days of the year. And the amount of cyclists, there were swarms of them. I thought, I'm so glad I don't film around here anymore, because it gave a very disjointed sensation to filming, because you're talking away to camera, then you're having to slow down, then you're kind of having to concentrate less on what you're saying so you don't run down a cyclist. And then you overtake them and go around another corner, and there's 25 more. You think, oh. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend Dorking. Dorking, it's a place called Roundmoor Common. That used to be quite good for driving, but not so much anymore. Too many cyclists. Wells is a good place, although the Black Mountain Pass, the good bits of it are now 40 only. The Evo Triangle now has average speed cameras. So yeah, that's not quite as fun as it used to be. A few more comments have flooded in. The cat. You or YouTube or whoever need to sort these live chat notifications. It's not in my power. I would have jumped in earlier if I'd known you were doing a live chat. Got to go now, as I have to put the kids to bed. I'm really sorry about that, but you can always rewatch it on the replay. Granted, you can't interact with it, but yes, apologies for that. Jamie Fisher, get yourself on the NC 500. Yeah, when I did my 595 and a 595 challenge, which feels like a long time ago, I'm pretty sure. So I drove from Elgin to South London, to raise money for St Christopher's Hospice, the hospice that looked after my late father-in-law. In fact, he's actually behind me. Sorry to creep you guys out, but he's in that urn just there. There we go. So yes, so he's not here in body, but he is here in spirit. But yeah, anyway, I've wandered away from my point, not for the first time, but I'm pretty sure as part of that challenge, I inadvertently hit part of the North Coast 500, and my word, it was one of the prettiest sights I've ever seen. It was February, wasn't it? I should really know this. I think it was February, and we was in the Highlands of Scotland, and it was all covered in snow. It looked like something out of a postcard. It was very beautiful. I'd love to do the North Coast 500. I really would. It's just a shame that I live on the south coast of England. Therefore, the NC 500 is pretty much right at the other end of Britain. So yeah, not ideal. Not ideal. I can't just pop over there for a bit, can I? I'd have to kind of devote at least a weekend to it. Henry Hole 8538. Haggerty lives on YouTube on Motor Overload, which he shares with Brown Car Guy. Yeah, and I've seen them do a few videos together. Yeah, I quite like what they do. Gavler Tennis. Do you have a permanent car of your own, or do you rotate through all the stuff you review? Yeah, I've got two permanent cars. I've got Monique, my Unos Roadster, and she's tucked away in the garage. I should really start her tomorrow. It's been a few days since she's been started. I don't have a trickle charger, so I ought to move her as well, because I don't want her brakes to seize. So I had that happen quite some time ago. The offside front brake caliper seized, so it had to be replaced. So I want to try and avoid that. And I've got Leo, my Mark II Seat Leon Cupra. Took him out for a drive today. He's good fun. He is good fun. I don't think I have any regrets buying him, to be honest, which is weird. When I first test drove him, I really didn't fall in love. It was a very competent car. It was, obviously, I know it's based on a Golf platform, but it was very much like driving a Golf. Quite well-rounded, but not particularly astonishing at doing anything in particular. But now I've modified him, kind of put my own stamp on him, made him more my own. He has become quite a fun creation. At some point, when I can afford it, I think I would want to put a limited slip diff in him, just give him better traction. Now that he's got that extra power, but yeah, if I had a car every week, then I probably would just. I think there was a point where I was getting cars almost every week, and a part of me did think, do I really need to own a car? But the thing is with me, because I'm still quite a small YouTuber, I can't just depend on having a car every week, particularly this year because of COVID. Therefore, I think it would be quite silly to operate like that. But I imagine there are some proper car journalists out there that probably don't own a car because they don't really need to. Where are we? Oh. Jamie Fisher, Black Mountains in Wales are worth a visit. They are, but like I say, they're not quite as fun as they used to be. Still very pretty. You can lower the speed limit, but you can't make the place uglier. That's for certain. No, sorry, you can't make the place prettier. Sorry, ugly. That's an insult. So you can't make the place any prettier because it's very pretty to begin with. No worries, mate. Too many comments coming in. I've done many Europe rallies, and NC 500 puts most of them to shame in some ways, apart from the weather, though. Well, yeah, of course, it is Scotland. I remember when I was, it's quite a long story, so I won't go into it, but I was looking at a Mark I Unos Roadster up in Scotland, and it said, I've never been taken out in the rain. I thought, so you've never driven it then? I saw the same, actually, for a JGM EP3 Civic Type R. This was obviously before I got Olaf, and there was a bloke selling a facelift one, which are really rare, again in Scotland, and he said, oh, it never gets taken out in the wet. I thought, so you don't use it then? You live in Scotland, mate. It always rains. Let's have a look. Carl Green, I know you're into cars, but I get the impression you are anyway. Do you have any interest in bikes, not push bikes, or motorbikes? No. Sorry, just a very simple answer for that one. No. All I know about motorbikes is I've got handlebars, 2 wheels, and an engine. That's pretty much it, really. I know there have been some automotive YouTubers that have gone into bikes, such as Rory Reid. He does his bikes. I think Supercars of London, I think he's doing stuff with bikes. Miller Corner, he's doing stuff with, well, I say more mopeds. No, I think it's doing him a disjustice. But I've got no plans of doing anything like that. Thing is, and I don't want to put people off, but the way how I see it is it doesn't matter how good a rider you are. It just takes one idiot in a car, and that's it, game over. And particularly now I'm a father, I don't think I could do that. And the amount of kind of A&E programs that the missus watches, like 24 Hours and A&E, and I'll tell you what, the amount of medical documentaries on TV, I don't know how there's space for anything else on TV. There's loads of them. It's just when you think that there couldn't possibly be an idea for another one, there's another 5. You think, what? There's so much competition for these programs. They're so saturated. Anyway, I digress. Not for the first time. I've watched too many of those programs and see these poor motorcyclists that's had the nasty crash and was that close to dying. I think, no, I couldn't do that. And then some of these madmen get back on their bikes. I'm thinking, you've just survived a near fatal collision and you're getting back on that. Man, you really are not right in the head. Let's see. Smile per mile. Will this live stream be available to watch after it's finished? Yes, it will be. Well, it should be anyway. All my other ones are. Um, Another place worth visiting is the Nurburgring. Yeah, I don't talk to me about the Nurburgring. Now, I wanted to go there for my 30th, so I turned 30 this year, back in May, and my plan was I wanted to go to the Nurburgring and do a lap, whether that was going to be in one of my cars or maybe rent one of their cars, maybe hook up with Misha from Apex, but because of COVID, that didn't happen. Gutted is not the word. My 30th birthday was so crap, I can't even put it into words. It was actually, I shouldn't say that because I'll upset Patsy. But, darling, if you're watching, I don't think you are because you would have commented. You're probably recuperating. She's still in a lot of pain, bless her. My birthday was a homemade sort of, oh, Patsy didn't make it. She bought a cake which looked like an MX-5, which was really cool. Don't get me wrong. Oh, hello, Ruby. Hello, Ray. You got to come up. Hello, Ray. Oh, do I get a snuggle? Look who's come to join me. I'll just. Hello. You're going to say hello to my lovely viewers? What do you mean it should be called cat obsession, not car obsession? No, that's nothing new. Isn't she gorgeous? And you love to snuggle with me, don't you? You're going to get fur all over my nice t-shirt. I've lost my train of thought. Was that nice? It's Ray's fault. Don't blame me. Blame Ray. No, I literally have no idea what I was talking about. Not for the first time. Oh yeah, my birthday. Yeah, in the end, it was just a cake and a takeaway, and that was it. Really, that's it. I can show you the cake actually. Bear with me. I have to quickly dig out my photos. Talk amongst yourselves. This may take some time. If I was really clever, I'd just go into photos and just go to May. It would make life a lot easier. So I'm almost there, I think. And that's here we go. That didn't take long. Right. So there we are. Hopefully you can see that. So yeah, I had Monique made into a cake. There we are. Happy 30th birthday. What else? There's the back. Pretty cool. And was there another picture of the cake? Yeah, there we go. And of course, there's the real thing. You can't eat that. Well, you can try if you're a bit unhinged. Right. Sorry, Jacko999. Right, there we go. Bandy, he said hello from India. Hello from the south of England. Jacko999, congratulations on the birth of your new baby daughter. Do you change the nappies? I changed my first nappy today. Where's my applause? Where's my fanfare? I must admit I had it easy because there was no poo in there. But in regard, I think you commented earlier, didn't you? I completely missed it. I do apologise. You did, yeah. By the way, who changes the nappies? Sorry. Well, we'll share it between us. But yeah, Patsy's had the crap end of the stick, quite literally, because the one nappy I've changed has been just a wet one. Whereas apparently after I left the hospital today, Amber did a massive poo, and Patsy said, "You timed your departure just right." I thought, damn right I did. Joking aside, that I had to go because the visiting hours had finished. So you only get 1 hour to visit per day. Madness. So it's a newborn baby. I want to spend more time than an hour. Right. Joe has put, don't worry about the pronunciation of my name. It's fine. As the Subaru BRZ isn't coming to the UK, hopefully Toyota bring out the GT86. I'm sure they will do it, but it was quite a popular car. The thing is, the Subaru BRZ, I think the agreement that Subaru and Toyota had, I think they could only sell one BRZ for every 10 GT86s sold, I think, from memory. So as a result, you don't see many BRZs on the road. I think I've seen one, I think two, if you include the one I had for a week. Right, Jacko999. I think Mazda MX-5 are the best bang per buck two-seater roadsters. What's your favourite mark? Easy. Mark 1. It's on my T-shirt. Yeah, I've owned 2 Mark 2s, a Mark 1. I've never driven a Mark 3, believe it or not. I'd like to, because many see the Mark 3 as the kind of black sheep in the family. That's kind of the heaviest one, the one that's a bit more wallowy. Now, people say that MX-5s are hairdressers' cars. In my opinion, some MX-5 owners won't like me for saying this, particularly as I've not driven the Mark 3. But when I think of a hairdresser's MX-5, I don't know why. I just think the Mark 3 is the most hairdresser out of all of them. And I'm sure I've probably upset a lot of people. And like I say, my disclaimer is I haven't driven one, but I can only go by what other people have said. Now I know I need to drive it for myself and build my own opinions. And if someone out there has got a Mark 3, I would love to drive it. I'd love to experience it. Yep, Carl Green, couldn't agree more. It only takes one idiot, but when learning to ride, it really changes the way you drive the car. I'm sure it does, but obviously I'm not a perfect driver, but I don't think I'm always observant for cyclists and motorcyclists. I try to be anyway. Depeche Mode music. What are your thoughts on the 2030 ban of new petrol and diesel cars? Do you honestly think that electric cars will be affordable by then for the masses? No, I don't think so. 2030 isn't that far away. I don't think electric cars are going to come down that much in cost, whereby they're going to be accessible to the masses. Now, of course, the majority of cars are bought on finance anyway, and cars are leased, of course. So I suppose when you look at it like that, it makes things a bit more easier to swallow financially for consumers. But I think something in the UK has to drastically change for that to happen. But again, I don't want to speak too much about the electric cars. Would you consider buying the new i30N Auto? No, I wouldn't. I know it's a very short and to the point answer. And that's not because I don't like the i30N. As you will discover tomorrow, I love the i30N. But for me, a car like that, it needs to be a manual. And I'm very thankful that the new i30N will still be made available with the 6-speed manual gearbox. Because it's meant to be a driver's car. And I'm sorry, a driver's car needs to have a manual. Some will disagree with me on that one, but I think it's true. So no, I wouldn't. I would consider buying the new i30N if I had the money, but not the automatic. I don't think I'd even give a vague interest in the automatic, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know how good the automatic is likely to be. No, manual for me. Manual all day long. Pocket Rockets. I'm off, mate. Yeah, I wonder what that smell was. Merry Christmas to everyone. Enjoy the festive break. What is ever left of it, and hopefully see you guys on competition in 2021. We're doing the Nürburgring at some point. James Dykes, i30N. Jack and 99, brilliant cake. Jamie Fisher, that's an incredible cake. Well done to Patsy. I do want to stress, Patsy didn't make it. She bought someone who made it locally, but that sounds very ungrateful. But I just want to point it out. Patsy didn't make that. Bandy's done the clapping emoji. Thank you. Is that clapping? Yeah, it looks like clapping. Have you driven Cheddar Gorge? I have, Henry. And funny enough, that's when I had the BRZ I mentioned a few moments ago. I did, but me being the idiot I am, I went on a bank holiday weekend and it was crammed full of, well, I was going to say tourists, but visitors, I think it's a better way of putting it. And it kind of ruined my shoot because I had this plan in mind. And thankfully, I got up quite early and I filmed quite a lot of the bits kind of early-ish morning. But then by late morning, afternoon, Cheddar Gorge, it was swarmed. You could barely move in the shops through all the visitors. But it was nice. I think I got some fudge. Patsy bought some cheese. Did she buy some cider? No, she was going to buy some cider, but she didn't. Can't remember why. There was also a kind of wildlife group that were in the area, a kind of bird group. Can't remember their name, but they had some owls and show, and Patsy loves owls, So that was a nice little treat for her because they had some owls on display. But yeah, I have been to Cheddar Gorge. I'd like to go back, but not on a bank holiday weekend. I should have really seen that coming. Like Google reviewer, does that mean you review on Google or you review Google? Hiya, what's your first, second, and third favorite used car out of the ones you've reviewed? Actually, talking of used cars, I think I actually missed a comment up here, didn't I, about a used car, didn't I? Yes, Gavlar Tennis. Sorry, I'm sorry to go back a bit. Also, if you could pick one used car out of all the ones you've reviewed, which one would you pick? That's a good one. I've not really done many used cars. That's the issue. So I don't know. I can't really answer that because a lot of the cars that I've driven have been brand new. So yeah, it's a bit difficult to answer that question. Sorry to kind of go all the way back and then give you a crap answer, but I wanted to give you an answer nonetheless. Right, go back to Google reviewer, the person who may or may not review Google. So that's pretty much the same question, which what triggered in my memory. Go back to the comment, the question from Gavlar Tennis. Again, I've not really pretty much all the used cars I've reviewed have been my own. So yeah, and if I can't include my own cars, then it's a bit difficult to answer. Rich Road 007. Congratulations, Mrs. and Mr. Sleepless Nights. Awaiting hope is good for mother and daughter. Make everything okay in the future. All the family and channel be safe. Thank you very much. Jacko999, what's your opinion on the new Toyota GR Yaris? So I don't know if you saw I don't know if you heard my comments earlier, but I'm really excited about it. It's quick, but the 3-cylinder puts me off. It's a difficult one. Now, I'm a big Ford fan, and I shouldn't really say this, but Ford has had its problems with engines. So when it comes to the brand new Fiesta ST, if I were to buy one, I won't lie, I think it would be a slight nagging thought in the back of my head, thinking this engine may go wrong, particularly as it's quite a new engine. However, for Toyota is of course a Japanese brand, and they are famed for their reliability. And let's face it, how often does a Toyota go wrong? I don't think I'd have as much worry buying that car, even though it is putting out more power. So it could potentially be an engine that's under more stress compared to the EcoBoost. But I would be quite confident in that engine. I think so much development has gone into it. Not that Ford doesn't develop their engines, of course. I'm sure they pump millions into that. But the 3-cylinder engine in the Yaris wouldn't put me off. Joe's put, there's an incredible video with a 500. There's an incredible video with 500,000 plus videos. Do you mean views? I think you mean views of an ex-Koenigsegg driver called Robert Saransky in his NC, that's Mark III to the uninitiated, NC MX-5 overtaking a GT3 RS twice at the Nürburgring. It's all about the driver's skill. Yes, it certainly is. It's one thing having the gear, but you need to have the idea. You need to have the skill to go with it. And, it brings the phrase "all the gear, no idea." That's an interesting comment from Joe G Jim. Speaking about the exhaust from the GR Yaris. Yeah, that for me, that's of course I'm not driven the car, but I can only kind of live my experiences through those that I've had. But I think that's one of the weaknesses of the GR Yaris is it sounds a bit crap. And a lot of people have said the seating position is too high as well. And I think that would be... Oh! Just look at Ray. She's sprawled out. Oh, almost dropped the laptop then. Are you quite comfortable there? Bless her. Just hear us squeaking away in the background. Um, yeah, sorry, I was reading the comments. I'm tickling Ray at the same time. Yeah, I think that one of the other drawbacks of the GR Yaris is the fact that someone said the seating position is quite high, and that would put me off. I don't understand why the quality is so low. It's actually quite bright in here, but this makes it look like it's really dingy in here. It really isn't. If anything, it's a bit too bright in here. I could do with turning the lights down. Robert has said, "Can you say happy birthday to my friend?" How many friends have got their birthdays on the same day? Now you have to forgive me. I'm reading this twice to make sure it's not a joke name like Seymour Butts or Amanda Hug and Kiss. Mike Oxlong. Mike Oxlong. Is there a pun in there? Is that a joke name? Are you trying to do me over? Mike Oxlong. Ah, there we go. Got there eventually. Yes, Mike Oxlong. Yeah, Mike Oxlong. Brilliant. I had a feeling you were trying to draw me out there. You almost had me. Saying what's your other one then? Ah, I see. I see what your other one was now. Okay. Smooth. No, Robert, I'm not going to say that. Going back to his previous comment, if I did say what he asked me to say, and it sounded like what it did probably sound like I say, that wasn't my intention. Yeah. Bear with me a few moments. Right. Joe's, but yes, I meant views, not videos. In my previous comment. Right. Okie dokie. Right. Bear with me just a few moments. Right, there we go. Sorry about that. It's just if someone's going to put those kind of comments, it's not really needed, really, is it? After the year we've had, so we should all be together as one, not trying to just anyway. I'm not going to give that any more time or attention needed. Right, so Henry, don't worry about three-cylinder engines. My daily driver was a Peugeot Turbo that does the job well, even has a good growl. Yes, there are some people that complain about the noise of the three-cylinder engines. I actually quite like them. That because they have that kind of distinct growl, it makes them sound like a bigger engine than what they actually are. So I don't mind a three-pot, if I'm going to be honest. Jamie Fisher, as much as I love the GR Yaris, I think that the appealing finance deals will result in it becoming the next Volkswagen Golf R, one of the most stolen cars in the UK. The thing is, I think with the GR Yaris, I think it's one of those cars that you only know, you know what it is. It's one of those things. If you know, you know. Whereas the Golf R is quite a mainstream car. Without causing any offence to anyone, it's not a special car. Actually, that is quite rude. It's not as special or as unique as the GR Yaris. I think for a lot of non-car people, they'd look at the GR Yaris and go, "Oh, it's a Yaris," and probably not pay it another attention. And they go, oh, that looks a bit wide for a Yaris, and then not pass any kind of other thoughts on it. Whereas with the Golf R is a very popular car. It's a very well-rounded vehicle, and the Golf R, I think, is much more known in the world, even if you're not a car person. So I don't think that's really going to be an issue. I don't think, obviously, I may be wrong. I don't think the GR Yaris is going to be that competitive on finance, purely because they're going to be so popular, and I don't think Toyota will be able to make them fast enough anyway. So I doubt the finance deals in that are going to be that great anyway. What was your favourite poster car growing up? That's a funny one, because I went through a phase where I was really into cars. Then I kind of went out of it. It wasn't until, I'd say, a bit later in life that I got back into cars. So I didn't really have a poster car as such. I know that may sound mad. Now, I did have model cars. In fact, I've got a load of them in the spare bedroom. I would go and get them out, but it'll take me ages because they're kind of buried. I remember I had a Jaguar XJ220 in silver, and I had a Lamborghini Countach, and I can never remember whether it was white or red. I'm pretty sure it was red. I also had a Jaguar E-Type, but those two cars, I'd say, were kind of my poster cars as such. The Jaguar XJ220, just because I loved how kind of otherworldly it looked. I know they had the rear lights from, was it a Rover Metro? Is it a Rover Metro? I know that it was kind of what's the word? Bungled together, I suppose. It was kind of rushed, wasn't it? And it didn't quite go to plan. But I just love the way how it looked. It looked so sleek. I think if that car were released today, okay, maybe if you don't look at the rear end, but I think if you look at the side and the front, I'd still think it may even pass for a new car. And the Countach, I just loved it. Just it was so over the top. It was just full of 80s excess, wasn't it? The doors and the big wing. I know you can you can get the Countach without the rear wing. I actually think that the rear wing is actually counterproductive. Yeah. But yeah, those were my kind of cars, I suppose. Let's see. Just reading through some of the comments. I've been going for quite a long time. I was aiming to do this for about an hour and a half. I've now done almost an hour 40. So I'll just have a bit of a sip of my beer. And then I'll start to wrap up soon. Have you met a YouTuber called Car Thought? No, I haven't actually. I've not come across his channel. But he's got a Mark III MX-5. Okay, I'll have to bear that in mind. Oh man, it's nice to just take a few moments. I've been quite some time since I've spoken for this long continuously. Oh man, done him. Have I ever met JM on cars? No, I was at the same track day as him once, but I never actually bumped into him or spoke with him. Well, I have spoken with him through the means of social media now and then, not very often, but no, he's done well for himself, hasn't he? I love the fact that he gets his hands on a wide variety of cars. I don't quite know how he does it, but yeah, he's always got lots of interesting cars on the channel. But no, I've not met him per se. No, I'd like to though. I'm sure our paths will cross at some point. A big stretch from May. There we go. Right. I'll just give you guys a few more moments to submit any more questions. I'm really delighted by how tonight has gone. I really thought that that today would be a bit of a washout. Actually, what was the Arsenal score? I bet they lost. I am an Arsenal fan, sadly. We suffered together. I'm going to predict 3-0 to Man City. Oh, it's worse than that. Okay, brilliant. 4-1. Excuse me, the deficit is still the same. It doesn't surprise me. Arsenal are in poor form. Right, you lovely lot. I would say ladies and gentlemen, but it's mostly gentlemen, let's be honest. It's been a great chat. Thanks. Oh, thank you, Jacko99. I do hope that incident with Robert MCD trying to get me to say funny and rude names didn't ruin it for you. Sorry, I should have spoken on sooner that what was going on, but it didn't quite. My process didn't quite compute it properly. I was quite naive. I actually thought it was someone asking a genuine nice request, but no, it's just someone who wanted to be a bit of an expletive. But hey ho, the world isn't perfect. It's not full of perfect people either. Just a way of life. Such is life. Is what I'm looking for. I saw you met Petroped. How was he? I've got a lot of time for Petroped. He's again, like me, he's a down to earth guy. I like him. I like his style. I think he's quite a real person. And what I mean by that is some YouTubers you get. I go back to it earlier. You get a sense that they've got this kind of persona on screen, and that in real life they're kind of different. But no, I like Petroped. A real guy, approachable, down to earth, and I'm happy for his success both on YouTube and on television. I think he's done really well, and I think he's blooming deserved what he's got. So may it continue. I look forward to seeing him hit 100,000 subs. Hopefully one day I'll get there. I must admit, I do look at Petroped's. I do look at Petroped's progress, and I think, oh, you jammy lucky so and so. I don't mean that out of malice. What I mean is that me and Petroped, we started at a similar kind of time. In fact, I think he may have started a little bit before me, and he's done really well. And yeah, I'm still getting there with the numbers. But like I say, I say he's jammy and lucky. You make your own luck in this life, and I think, like I say, Petroped has deserved whatever has come his way. He's worked hard, and yeah, he's got. I think he's got out what he's put in. I think that's the best way of putting it. Last question from Jacko999. What's your tipple? Do you mean my favourite tipple, or just what I'm drinking now? I'm drinking Corona, which is quite apt for obvious reasons. What my favourite tipple is a JD and Coke. It's been ages since I've met my good friend Jack Daniels. I do have a little tipple of Jack Daniels in the kitchen, but it's so small I can't really do much with it. I don't know why I've still got it, to be honest. It's like when your missus will leave the last bit of the milk. You think, why'd you do that? There's so little left. Just use it. But yeah, hopefully someone's got me some Jack Daniels for Christmas, because I can't remember the last time I had a bit of JD. It would have been, I'd say, towards the start of this year, perhaps. Oh, got a Facebook message. Oh, sorry, got distracted. Petroped did a great video on the role of influencers whilst he was walking the dogs. Yeah, I actually watched half that video. Didn't have time to watch all of it, but it's quite an intriguing one. Yeah, so I hate the word influencer as well. Because it sounds like influenza, which is an illness, and kind of apt really, because I think some people would see influencers as an illness, because some people find them quite annoying and cliche and just irritating. And I just think the word influencer is just such a it's just such a, not a blase. I think it's quite a cliche term. I don't like that. I'd much rather say I'm a YouTuber than an influencer, because I probably do influence in certain ways. There have been some videos that I've done on cars, and people have said, "Oh, I watched your video, and because of that, I bought the car." So yeah, in some respects, I am an influencer. Oh, I hate that word. But yeah, I don't particularly like that phrase. I think that for me, an influencer, like many people, I suppose it conjures up this image of this very picture perfect person who has this picture perfect life. They just share things on Instagram and they just make money from it. And that's not me. I'm not picture perfect. I'm your average bloke. I have imperfections, plenty of imperfections. I don't have a picture perfect life. No one has a picture perfect life. It's unattainable, to be blunt. That may sound really pessimistic, but yeah, I don't see myself as an influencer, and I do sincerely hope you guys don't either. But if you do, well, I don't know what to say really. In terms of names, it would probably go like this: video creator, YouTuber, influencer. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. Do you have Coke with your? Do I have Coke with my? With my what? David, you're keeping me in suspense. If you mean with my Jack Daniel, then yes, I do. There we go. He finally woke up. He got the keyboard to make some letters. Yeah, I do have Coke with my JD. I have tried JD straight. I thought I'd like it, and to be honest, I didn't. Just like that. Yeah, you can drink that straight. Oh, right. Wow, I can't believe I've been going this long. I can't believe that there's people still here. I thought I would have bored you to death by now. Right, you lovely bunch. That really is time for me to head off. I must admit, my mouth and throat are genuinely starting to get dry. I've still got a fair amount of editing to do on the i30M video, which I do really want to get done for tomorrow evening. So thank you, all of you, for joining me at such short notice. I know I only announced this a few days ago. Again, please check out my merchandise. Not only will you get yourself a cool T-shirt, but you'll also be supporting the channel as well, because I do get a small slice of talking to Sean Connery. Josh, you will get a small slice of the profits. I get a small slice. Oh my god, I've marked this one up. Basically, what I'm trying to get at, everyone's a winner, because you get a cool T-shirt which is of very good quality, and you're also helping to support the channel as well, because I get a little bit of money per sale per T-shirt or mug. Actually, I've got one. No, I was going to get up and show you the mug, but Ray is very comfortable. She's just grooming herself. I don't want to disturb her. Look how comfortable you are. Right, just read 2 more comments. The good thing about your channel is it shows cars we the public can actually buy. It's good to see those on YouTube. Yeah, I think it's a fair reflection, because whenever I do any supercar content, it always flops. So it's clear you guys don't want supercars, which is fine by me, because getting hold of supercars is very difficult. Jamie Fisher, thanks so much for engaging with your audience. Well, it's important for someone like me. So I'm just reading Jacko's comment. Yeah, it's important for me to give back to you guys, because I want it to feel like a two-way street. And I genuinely love doing these Q&As. I'd love to do them more often, but I think if I did them too often, it would kind of take away the specialness of them, if that makes sense. Whereas these are almost like a highlight of my year, and I mean that. I really, really do. It's great to connect with you guys. Yeah, it just helps to give out that community feeling. That above all, that's what YouTube is really about. It's all about having a community, isn't it? And last but not least, Jacko999, that's true. What's the point of watching reviews on 1 million plus cars? Utterly pointless. Well, not a few rich, but yes, for the most of us, yeah, they are kind of pointless. Although it gives you something to aspire to, doesn't it? I suppose. Cheers, Car Obsession. It's a great channel. Thank you. You are so down to earth. Thank you again. And happy Christmas. A very happy Christmas to you. Thank you, guys. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. For those that don't celebrate Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. I know some other traditions and religious festivals. Let's not leave those out. So I'm going to do the very broad American phrase and say Happy Holidays. Where can I buy the T-shirt I'll buy right now? Oh, so you need to go to controlandshift.com. So just I'll quickly show you what their website looks like, so you know that you've hit the right one. Quickly before I end up being on here for another half an hour. Here we go. So the website you're looking for. Ray, will you stop jiggling about? It looks like this. There we go. It's kind of back to front. Oh, who's that handsome fellow? And it gives you what my T-shirts look like. And of course, that's the one I'm wearing now. And I've also got a mug as well. Granted, it's not the best time to be promoting T-shirts in the height of winter, but hey ho. Happy Christmas to you, David. Mountain biker Paul, Merry Christmas to you too as well. Thank you, everyone. I will catch up with you soon. Be sure to tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. because hopefully my i30M video will be available to watch. But yes, I really hope your 2021 is better than your 2020. But let's face it, that isn't very difficult, is it? What's going to happen next? The Black Plague? Who knows? But yes, thank you so much. And enjoy your Christmases or your other religious festivals. Bye for now. Oh,